I'm excited to chat with you today, just because I saw your post, and honestly, it caught me off guard because
Yeah.
I think your first, like the first one of the first thing you said was like, "I can't believe that this happens,"
Yeah.
and I was like, I thought that's like an '80s high school bully kind of thing. I was like, that
Correct.
is so sad.
No, yeah.
It made me sad because like you're talking about all the things that I love, which is about progression
Mhm.
and that kind of thing, and getting better, like the 1% better every day. As cliche as that is, it's a
Right.
really important principle. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really inspiring what you're doing with Court's Corner and you showing your journey,
Yeah.
because it's vulnerable. It's a hard thing to do.
100%.
So I guess it might make sense to just kick it off with asking you how you got started with one your fitness journey
Mhm.
and deciding to make a change and that kind of thing and what led to that.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like my whole entire adult life, I've just kind of been on and off with my fitness journey. I feel like I would always start off super strong and consistent in dieting, and it would go super great. And then life would happen and I would fall off. And I feel like I was in this mindset where it was all or nothing. So for me, it was, I would fall off and then I wouldn't go back for a couple weeks because, I'm like, oh, I'm going to start next week or I'm going to start the week after, or, whatever that would look like. And honestly, I feel like I was tired of giving the excuses for myself. And I was just tired of, not being able to lose weight that I've gained over the years. And so this last time I told myself it was going to be the last time I was going to start. And so far we've been progressing and doing, well. And at the end of the day, like I want to live a healthy lifestyle and not try to live by that like all or nothing mindset. So
Yeah, which I think is huge. Like the balance piece. I think balance in fitness is kind of an interesting one because there are people
mhm.
who literally don't have it, and like David Goggins, I talk about him all the time.
Yeah.
He literally says, he's not a balanced person and he
Hmm.
won't consider himself balanced, but his goals are very different than most people's. And um, I think just what you said, trying to live a healthy lifestyle and all that kind of thing, because I've been in the same boat before. Like I've talked about it before on this podcast, but I used to be sick myself. I was like around 135 pounds, and I'm 6'3", so it's
Oh,
not really
wow. Oh
great.
my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I had some hormone issues. Like I have a tumor in my pituitary gland, which is benign, so no cancer,
That's good
which
at
is
least.
yeah, very good. But like I definitely have struggled with eating myself all throughout my life. It was kind of like what you said, like all in, or you know what, I'm just gonna let life happen and do whatever. And um, I recognize in myself I was like fluctuating all the time. Like I would be
Mhm.
really good, I'd be disciplined, and then the next couple days I would be like, oh, you know what, I've earned this, and then throw it all away in a sense.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on that myself too.
Right.
And it's so important. But yeah, I kind of want to explore like the self talk that you had at the beginning of the journey, because that's something I feel like many people struggle with, at least like
Mm.
because it's not going to happen overnight.
Yep.
It's definitely it is a journey. Like it's called a journey for a reason.
Mhm.
So what were some of the things like you would tell yourself to either stay motivated to keep the goal in sight, or when things got tough, like what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, I think before I started this last journey, I would say, is, I always pushed myself too far, right? I made goals that were really unattainable for myself. So this time around, I've been saying this nonstop to my husband and anyone who will listen, but baby steps are still steps. So just creating like small attainable goals for myself. And then, when I do that, I can build on those habits and then continue building them. So for me, it's just really like focusing on the small things. And then once I feel comfortable with that, it's like, oh, hey, I can do more than that. And then continuing to grow from there. And for me, it's like, okay, I'm obviously doing well with my fitness, my diet, things like that, and then continuing to grow in that aspect and then building, like I said, on those habits. And for me, I think it's remaining disciplined, but also listening to my body and just really giving myself that grace. So last week I was super sick. I was like
Mm.
quite literally dying. And I was getting
Uh-oh.
so hard on myself because I was like, I have to go to the gym. I have to get my steps in. And I was like, okay, like I went home early from work because my boss was like, you need to go home. Like, you're not well. And that day I was like, okay, clearly I'm not okay. Like, I just need to sleep. And I slept all day. And I had like the immediate mindset of being like, okay, like now you have to do work extra hard the next day or something like that. And I was like, no, like that's not the mindset we're going to have this time. We're going to really focus on, giving ourselves grace. And then when we're feeling better, we can get those extra steps in, or we can just continue to hit our goals the way we're supposed to, without feeling like we have to make up for something or, punish ourselves because we missed a couple days or whatever it is. So I'm really glad that I'm moving out of that mindset and into a mindset where, I'm allowed to be disciplined and push myself, especially on the days where I don't want to do something, just because I don't want to do them. But, giving myself that grace and rest when I truly do need it. So
Yeah,
I think that big mindset change has been what's pushed me and motivated me more this time than any time before.
I love that. And you're speaking my language. Like that's something I actually I've struggled with up until the past like couple years. I married my wife, and like somehow we got talking about our own internal voices, like either at the
Mm-hmm.
gym or just like the way that we talk to ourselves. And I was in the same boat. Like, and there would be days when I was sick, and I would just beat myself up. Like, I'd be like, "You're such a loser." Like, man, like you're gonna have to still do something. Like, get in the gym. It doesn't matter. And it was just an unhealthy relationship with. I needed to find some way to feel proud of the work that I did, even when I was like deathly ill. And
Right.
maybe not deathly ill, maybe that's a stretch, but like when I was
I know.
sick and like in bed,
Mm-hmm.
like you've said, um, like the most recent story, like last year I was training for an ultra marathon I was going to run in Monticello, Utah,
Okay.
and three days before I got like the flu or something like that, and I couldn't keep any food down. I was in bed for 2 days, and the day before the race, I was like, I'm still going to do it. Like I told myself I was going to sign up for this thing, and my parents flew up from Arizona, and I was like, I got to do this thing. And my wife's like, you're dumb. Like that's the
Yeah.
dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like you just spent 2 days in bed. You haven't had any food. You're gonna run 31 miles in the mountains. Not a good idea.
Mm.
And it's just like you have to be kind of realistic with yourself at some point and be like, you know what, that's right. And then it goes back to that word journey. Like this is something it's not gonna like change overnight if I just give up. And I wouldn't even consider giving up because it's life happens like you said at the beginning,
Yeah.
and it's so important to have that self-talk that's motivating but not like what's the word, discouraging, I guess.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
So
can't be mean to yourself. It's, we're past that, right? Like we're not going to be our own
yeah,
bully at the end of the day. And like, we can't do that.
yeah, no way, it doesn't work. Like the thing that my wife told me during that time was like, hey, you have to be your own biggest cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be times when you don't have motivation, when you have to coach yourself, when you're like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be good for you, or you know what, this isn't going to be good for you, let's take a step back, and just being realistic with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. But so what did your beginning look like did you go find resources, did you look up like a coach, or just like sign up for the gym and you're like, okay, this is it?
Yeah.
Kind of walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know her, but Whitney Simmons she's a fitness influencer, I would say. But I've been like obsessed with her since like 2017. So I feel like that has been like my consistent like go-to person when like I need like a new workout routine, or like I just look up her Instagram, her YouTube, whatever. Recently she came out with like a fitness app that has different programs on it, and it'll send you notifications to like help motivate you, things like that. So that's what I've been using this time around to really help like push me and keep me on track. It's super customizable things. I'm not even trying to sell this app right now, but anyways,
You can
um,
sell it all you want, I mean, it
yeah,
sounds great.
but I absolutely love it. But I feel like that is great because it also shows like how to do the exercises, right? So
Mm.
if it has you doing dumbbell chest presses, it's going to show you like the exact form you should be using and where your elbow should be. And it literally has a video playing so you can watch it and like focus on it. So I feel like that has helped with my gym anxiety too, especially like in the beginning when I was first going to the gym. I feel like it's anxiety ridden, right? Like
Yeah.
if you don't know how to use the machines or you don't want to look silly and like mess up on an exercise because you're just afraid people are watching you, which half the time they're not.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it helps, you feel more confident in your journey and like your fitness, to have that as a background. But I feel like that was just a big motivator for me, and just having a plan every week and just knowing when I'm going to the gym, knowing what I'm going to do, and just having a set plan, I feel like was really helpful. But yeah.
No, that's awesome. And like I actually love the fact that there are influencers out there. Like there's some really
Hmm.
good ones. There's also some ones that are kind of just goofy, but
Yeah.
that's just the state of the industry, I guess. But
Yes.
there's always going to be those guys. But like
Hmm.
there are some ones that like motivate me, keep me going, and like I don't know if you've heard of Nick Bear or any of those guys.
I
Um,
don't think so, but
they own a company called Bear Performance Nutrition, and
okay.
they're all about like the hybrid athlete is what they call. So it's like half endurance, half bodybuilder weightlifting kind of thing.
Okay.
And I found that, and I was like, I'm just gonna follow like what they're doing, and so that helped me a lot during my journey from like just trying to get better myself. But instead of comparing yourself to them, it's more like you use them as inspiration.
A hundred
Um,
percent.
because I'm sure you've heard the term comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, I tell that to my husband all the time.
Yeah, it really is like it's a cliche again, but it is true. Like
Hmm.
it's not fair to yourself to compare yourself to someone else who's been doing it for years and you're just starting out.
Hmm.
Um, there's this amazing runner that I follow, and the things that he does is insane. His name's Truett Haynes. Um, but he did like 10,000 pull-ups. He broke the record this year, and he got like 10,001 pull-ups in 24 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and then like he just does random things. Like he ran the Boston Marathon in jeans and got a 2 hour and 36 marathon, and like just random stuff. And I was like, how is this guy doing it? Like that's
Right.
insane. And then he posted a video or a picture where he's like, I've been running half marathons since I was 6 years old. And I'm like,
Oh,
that makes a lot of sense. Like I
yep.
can't compare myself to that.
Yeah.
So
That's are
um
connecting.
yeah. So I mean like that's one thing that you do, which I'm very impressed by, is like you document your journey, you talk about it openly on social media, which can be very vulnerable. And social media is a great place for comparison. So
Mhm.
how do you deal with that? Like recognizing, you're inspiring other people, but also like you can't look at others and be like, dang it, like I'm not there yet.
Yeah. So I think I didn't start on social media to like necessarily inspire people. It was just kind of to like share my journey and kind of more so hold myself accountable. And
Hmm.
then, it's kind of grown into that inspiration thing, which is absolutely nuts to me. I just still can't wrap my head around it some days.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard, right? Because, I think it's all about like who you follow though, too, right? And the kind of mindset that they have.
Yeah.
So I think I've really worked on one, surrounding myself personally with people that are going to motivate me and support me and just push me towards all the right things. But then like the people that I follow on social media, like I want to post the people that are talking about wanting to get fit for all the right reasons, right? I don't want to follow people that are like, oh, I'm going to get fit to be hot and like
Yeah.
just, I mean, like obviously we all want to be hot, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's just I want to be fit to be healthy. And I think just that mindset for once has just pushed me to not compare myself to others, because my journey is my own and we all have invisible things that we can't all necessarily see. So, that could be hindering why we're not losing weight, or, maybe someone's super skinny because they can't gain weight due to whatever it is.
Yeah.
You never know what's going on with other people. And I think I finally hit that point where I can realize that, and no one's journey is going to look the same. And I love comparing stories and having similarities, but I also want people to know that their journey is their own. So if they're not losing weight the same as their best friend who's doing the same exact workout and eating the same exact thing,
Yeah.
that's okay. Like that is okay. And that's fine.
100%.
And I think just being open minded about that stuff and just owning the fact that it is your journey and making it your own thing is so important. And I
Yeah.
think people lose sight in that often. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, they really do. Like I've done it so many times. So I'm speaking from my own experience here, but um I remember when I was starting my own, like I wanted to kind of like what you were saying, like get hot. I wanted to get all the muscles in the gym and like get the biceps and look like Arnold
mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. And um I remember I was watching this influencer and he was like, yeah, the way that I cut is I work out in the gym for like 2 hours a day, and I'll eat about 1,500 calories, and usually that puts me in like a 500 calorie deficit for the day or whatever. And then he
Yeah.
doesn't add on the exercise. He doesn't incorporate that into his deficit.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I remember thinking that, and I was like, that's crazy. And so I tried it once, and I felt terrible because I had no
Right.
energy. Um, and it was all during COVID, so like I had all the time to really work out and like do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I just felt so bad, and I was like, man, what is going on? And then I got online and I found this website called Total Daily Energy Expenditure Calculator. It's like the whole, helps you
Yeah.
calculate your killer intake and deficit that you need and all that stuff. So I type in all my stats, and it's like, okay, well, if you want a 500 calorie deficit, you have to eat like 2,100 calories a day.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, so 600 more than this guy. Turns out the guy's 5'5", and like I said, I'm
Yep.
6'3", and so it's like every body is different, and you can't,
Yeah.
like, you can listen to the advice that they have, but you shouldn't take it for
Hmm.
face value. Like you shouldn't be like, okay, well, this guy's doing it, this is gonna work for me. So I love that point. Like every body is different, and you should treat it as such.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
100%. It's
yeah, I mean, I kind of want to hear a little bit more about like the gym anxiety, if you don't mind, because that's something I know many people face. Most recently, me. Like I've been trying to do more mobility work, and I don't know if you've done mobility stuff, but it's like the most baby exercises, and like, and you feel like
they're hard.
they're hard, yeah, and it's like you can't really put weight on it, and it's tough, but like I kind of get nervous. Like I'm like, okay, well, I've been in the gym for a long time, like a few years, and now I'm doing these little exercises, and I'm like, man, I look like a grandma, but
Yeah.
it's like whatever, it's
Yep.
I'm trying to work on that myself, but how'd you overcome that? Like, what were some of the things that you told yourself or experienced?
Yeah. So for me, I definitely am very big on like, so I am like a big watcher. So like unfortunately I am the person that is watching you in the gym, but not to judge you, I promise. It's literally to see like how you're using that machine, like
Yeah,
what your form looks like. Like that is like if I see someone and I'm like they're ripped, they have a lot of muscles or they're in like good shape, like I'm going to typically look at them and like compare them to like what I've seen. But then I'm also going home and looking at YouTube and like typing in this machine that I want to use and just looking that up. And I think my anxiety just like forced me to do all of these things so that one, I felt comfortable and confident when I went into the gym. And like, I am like an introverted, extroverted person. Like, I'm
mm,
both. And I don't have a problem going up to somebody and talking to them. But like, when it comes to something I'm insecure about, absolutely not. So you will not
yeah,
catch me dead going up to somebody at the gym and being like, hey, can you show me how to use this machine? But I totally would do that now in my journey. Like I'm not afraid to do that now, but I would say in the beginning that was super hard for me. But realistically, it was just, watching other people use machines, looking it up online. Even like in the gym, sometimes I would look it up on YouTube, or like I said, the app I
yeah,
use now is really great with how to use machines. But I think too, it's just again like not comparing yourself. Like at the end of the day, like most people are in the gym to better themselves. They're worrying about what they're doing, they're not worrying about what you're doing.
yeah,
And you just have to keep that mindset. Like it's very rare that anyone is going to be in there judging you for not lifting 60 pounds. Like if they're lifting 60 and you're only lifting 10, like they're not going to
yeah,
judge you for that. Like it's not what it's about. So I think just kind of like getting out of your head and just putting your head down and like getting through your workout is the most important thing, especially if you are feeling anxious about it. It's just sometimes like throwing a baseball cap on, throwing a hood on top of that, and just kind of like having your blinders on, basically, I think is super helpful too. Because I've definitely done that, especially the days I don't want to be there. That's super helpful too.
Yeah, no, I seriously love that. Like education's huge.
Mhm.
Like if you learn how to use some of those things, if you learn how to do the techniques, um, that's the first step. And like you said, if there's someone in there who's bench pressing, I don't know, we'll say like 345 plates, because that's like I see that all the time, and I'm like, that's
It's
insane.
insane.
And I'm over there with just like 145 plate, and I'm like, I'm trying, guys. Like I'll
Yep.
get up there hopefully sometime, but um, again, it's like they don't care. And
Hmm.
I've actually like talked to some of those guys, and they're like, hey, like nice work, like keep going. And
Hmm.
that's what I love about like most of the fitness community, and especially like your local gyms. Like most people are very nice, and they will help you with things. They'll spot you. Like that was always something I was nervous about asking, is like, hey, can you spot me on this thing? But people are like, yeah, sure, why not? Because they've been there before and they know how difficult it is.
Yes. Yeah, I
So
feel like the gym bros that I feel like that are all like, they walk kind of like, they
yeah,
like I think they own the place. Like they are actually like great people to go to because they've been where you at. Like everyone has to start somewhere, and I think that's something to remember too. Is like everyone that is at the gym has been where you're at. They've
yeah,
they've walked into the gym for the first time before. Like they've it's not like they just were gym bros from day one.
yeah,
So it's just reminding yourself that too of, it's everyone started somewhere. So
100%.
it's okay.
This might be a rough analogy, but I'm going to go for it anyway. It's like a baby learning to walk. Like
Yeah.
if there's a baby, at a family party or something, and they take their first steps and fall down after a couple, everyone's going to be cheering for them. They're not going to be
Yeah.
like, you suck at walking, like come on.
Mhm.
And it's the same with like anything really. I think it shows that you want to make a change, and you want to, like you said, just have a healthier relationship with yourself, and um, just do something good for your body. And
Mhm.
yeah, most of the time it's good, but unfortunately, you had a very different experience, and it's kind of the reason why I reached out, because I I was baffled when I saw your video, and it made me pretty sad.
Yeah.
Um, but if you don't mind, kind of just walking through what happened, for the listeners who just don't know, and then we can keep going from there if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. So, um, of course, I was going to the gym, and of course, it was on a day that I did not want to be there. I had had literally the most awful day at work. I All I wanted to do was go home and rot on my couch, and I decided to force myself to go to the gym because I knew I was going to feel better afterwards. I'm starting this health journey again. It was,
Yeah.
really holding myself accountable again. Like, hey, do I not want to go to the gym because I don't feel good, or is it because I'm being lazy and I want to rot? So it's just really pushing myself. So I decided to push through it, and it was leg day. And I'm on the Smith machine and I'm doing hip thrusts. And out of the corner of my eye, I see some kids like snickering. And I'm like, there's literally no way that they're not laughing at me. They're probably just laughing at each other. It's fine. So I
Yeah.
continue doing my sets. And I'm like resting between my sets, and out of the corner of my eye again, I see one of these teenage boys, and they kind of point at me, and I see them make like hand gestures, making like a stomach on their stomach. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. And I'm pretty sure they're talking about me. And so I am like looking at them now, and we made eye contact, and they start laughing even more. And I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, maybe if I just call them out, they'll stop, it'll be fine. So I pull my headphone out and I say, like, hey, can I help you? Thinking, they're going to be embarrassed that they like got caught, like
Yeah.
that's what I would be.
Yeah.
And one of them responds, no, we don't need anything from you, fatty.
Jeez.
And I kind of like was so taken aback that that is actually what came out of their mouth. And I kind of looked around, and there was a girl on this machine next to me, and her and I made eye contact, and she just looked away. And I was like, oh my God. So she just heard that. And like no one
Oh,
said anything that was around. And like I didn't say anything because I just couldn't think of anything. I was just
yeah.
so taken aback that that had actually happened because that's like from a movie. You know what I mean?
It really
And
is. Yeah.
I, and that's I put my head down. I literally finished that last set and I just did my last exercise in the gym. I like went to the opposite side of the gym, did that last thing because even though I couldn't stand up for myself and say something to them, I knew at least I deserved to finish my workout because I deserved to be there. Um, but I think that's all I could do to keep myself from crying too is just continue my workout. And I ran to my car and I cried and I made that video. And I came home and I told my husband about it. And I was like, I'm not going to post it. You know, that's so embarrassing, you know, whatever. And he's like, no, you should post that. Like, people need to hear that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I posted it and I'm glad I did now. But I just, yeah, it was, like I said, it was out of a movie. I had to do like a double take almost because who
Yeah.
says that?
That's horrible.
Right.
Um, Man, I mean, it shows a lot of strength from your side though, because
Mm-hmm.
I think one, like what you said, you finished the workout, but um, I just, yeah, that is baffling. Those kids are losers. Like I'll say
Right.
it, and I know so many other people have supported you and said the same thing, but
Mm-hmm.
like they're losers. Like the fact
Right.
that they're out there and making fun of people who are trying to improve themselves, um, just makes me sick. Like
Right.
it's so sad. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, and so you posted the video, and then what happened from there?
It blew up. I, you know, started getting a lot of comments on it and just people sharing like similar experiences of what happened to them, which like breaks my heart, but I'm just so glad that they have someone they can talk to at least now about their
Yeah.
experience. Then a couple fitness influencers reposted my video, which made it blow up even more. And I gained a lot of followers. That video is sitting at 4 million views right now.
Holy cow.
Um, I think it's a little bit more than 4 million, but yeah, I just, like, my inbox was flooded. My people found my Instagram, so that started getting flooded. And it's been a very great experience. I never thought being, like, me crying on the internet was ever going to blow up and, like, happen the way that it did. And I'm happy that me putting myself out there and being vulnerable has helped so many people and
Yeah.
also has helped turn people's I their perspective on, right? Like there's so many
Right.
people that are like, I can't believe this happens, you know, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, you should have done this and like I would have done this. But in the situation, I feel like it's so different.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
now, like looking back on it, like I'm glad that happened to me, one, because if I ever see that in the gym, like now I'm prepared. Now I know
Right.
what to do and say because I know it's not, this doesn't happen in a movie. This happens in real life. So, you know, I'm just happy that at the end of the day, I'm happy that it happened. And um, I did end up talking to the gym about it after multiple people told me I should.
Yeah.
And so those boys did get kicked out. They just had the free, I go to Planet Fitness. So they just had the free membership. So they just got kicked out. So that was kind of a nice perk of it too.
Yeah.
Um, just because like at the end of the day, like I didn't want to be a snitch at the end of the day, but I also didn't want that happening to anybody else.
Yeah.
Because if that happened to me, like there's a lot of other people who are in bigger bodies that go to my gym and I don't want them to have the same experience that I did. So I was hoping that, you know, talking to the gym about it would at least get rid of that problem. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I I'm also glad that you posted that video just because I think it sheds light on something that we don't talk about a lot. Because like
mhm,
what we were saying at the beginning, like you always assume that people are just there with their heads down, just getting work in, and if you ask for someone to help you, like typically they will. Um, but of course, there's going to be some terrible people out there,
right.
and whoever raised these kids, you know, they're probably, I mean, I don't want to say not great, but I don't want to put assumptions out there. But like,
Yeah.
obviously, you didn't teach them how to act and um, how to just be a kind person, and it's a sad thing. And
Uh-huh.
so, I think it was a bold, or not a bold thing. It was a brave thing for you to do, for sure. but taking that step at least, helped, I don't know what you said, 4.5 million people see
It's
that,
crazy.
yeah, that there is like an issue out there. And like maybe like what you said, it'll help people to be like, oh, well, if I do see something like that, I'm going to say something, because I don't want someone to have to go into their
Hmm.
car and make a video saying, I don't know where else to go to say this, because I feel just broken inside. Like I'm trying to get better and I'm getting discouraged the whole time.
Right.
Um, I think it's really inspirational on your part. Um, but yeah, the other thing I saw is, so I saw that video, and then the next day I jumped on TikTok, and there were some influencers that I knew that talked about your story. Like I think his name is Scotty Fitness or something. He's the dude with a huge mustache. He makes mine
Yeah.
look like a child's mustache, but like um,
Yes.
some huge people were like, you know what?
Yeah.
Hey, like we got you on this.
Hmm.
What was that like?
I so background story on that. So Scotty is Scotty K Fitness. He ended up messaging me, and I didn't see it at first because my notifications were blowing up. So he messaged my husband, and he emailed me, and he messaged me on Instagram, and he is trying
Oh
to find
wow,
out what gym I go to. And so him and my husband were talking, and long story short, he ended up paying for my gym membership for a year,
wow,
just to kind of like push me to like keep hitting my goals. And like that was like I could cry thinking about it right now because that was so
yeah,
nice. And then Dr. Tommy, oh, I'm gonna butcher his name now, but Dr. Tommy Martin, I think is his name. Um, he also made a video with Scotty K Fitness, and so did Liam, and they were just super helpful and like offered to like buy me things to help me reach my fitness goals and stuff. So
yeah,
funny enough, I got like a hip thrust barbell pad, just
oh
kind of out of
yeah,
spite, and because I feel like our gym never has one, and but yeah, it was just it was a crazy response, and they basically told people to come flood my DMs and my comments with just kind and so such thoughtful things. And um, it made me realize that like what happened to me was a very rare thing. And I
yeah,
want people to know that if they follow me, if they watch my videos, if they listen to this podcast, that like the gym really is full of great people. They're really people that are going to be there to like work on themselves. And, you know, you it's just it's the fitness world is full of great people at the end of the day,
yeah,
and I never thought I'd be part of the fitness world because of the size that I am, but I am fat and I'm working on it.
yeah.
And um and it's been a really great experience so far, and I just am so thankful for the community that those influencers have brought, and that just I've you know kind of created in a way as well. And
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. Like I just am like speechless about it basically still. So
I would be too. Like it's like what we were talking about with the support system. Like people are there to get better themselves, and usually that means, hey, I want other people to join on and
mhm,
do the same for them, because they know like the benefit that comes from it. The benefit that comes from like being disciplined and
mhm,
showing up when you don't want to. Like even on that day when you wanted just to go home, you still showed up, and that's a lot. Like that's powerful, because most of the time, like myself included, multiple times during my own journey, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll just ease off the gas a little bit. Um, but then I always just I don't feel as good. It's hard to explain, but I love that tagline. I'm fat and I'm working on it. Like that's I think that's like one. It's like yeah, I understand my situation. Like I'm not where
mhm,
I want to be fitness wise. Um, and two, it's like I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with this. Like,
mhm.
how'd you come up with that tagline?
So originally I was just trying to find like a hook that was going to get people to listen to me. And so I actually started that series before that viral video. It was like I think that was like my third video in my series technically, and it wasn't even intended to be a thing. And I the intention was basically to take the word fat and make it not have this vicious meaning. Because I
Yeah,
feel like for so long the word fat has just always been used to make people feel like crap about themselves,
yeah,
no matter what
absolutely.
they look like. Because I feel like you can call a skinny person fat and they're gonna feel awful. Like so, I
Yeah,
just feel like it has such a negative connotation to it. So, you know, obviously it was used against me and I cried
Yeah.
about it. But I feel like, I want to use that word and like use it to take back like my own story and my journey. So when I say I'm fat, I use it in the same way that I would say like I'm tall or I have wavy hair. It's just an adjective, it's just a word then, and it has no power against me. And
Yeah.
that's really the way I want to continue my journey in this saying and my little tagline. Um, because I am fat and that's okay. Like genuinely it is fine. And I'm working on it,
Yeah.
genuinely. So instead of, like hiding it or hating myself for being in a bigger body, like I'm gonna continue working on myself. Um, and just because I say I'm fat doesn't mean I have like I'm not pretty or, I'm not strong or any of those things either. So it definitely stirs the pot a little bit and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, it's just, I just, I don't know. I just want
I
it. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's awesome. Like it does get people's attention. And to your point, it's like it's shocking that like you say that about yourself because of everything that you just said. Like it's always had a negative connotation to it. And now it's like I feel like if someone's in a similar situation, they're like, "Hey, maybe I can work on it too."
Hmm.
And I feel like it just makes it more relatable and it's not um like being fat is not the end of the like that's not the end of the journey. Like you can always change and
Correct.
it might be long. It might, not have the timeline you expected it to, but there's always ways that you can get better and improve. And it might take a year or a couple years, but you won't be the same person that you were when you started your journey. And I think that's the whole point.
Right.
Um, and so I think it's great. Like I know it is kind of like, up in your face. Like hey, I'm fat and I'm working on it. Um, but I love it. And, that makes me think like, so getting after it, we're a community of people that, all we do is we try to get better ourselves and help others do the same. That's the whole mission of getting after it. And we're launching shirts soon, so I'll have to send you one
Oh my
once we
God,
get them. But
please.
I think it would be cool to do like a shirt that just says like getting after it, and then on the back it's like I'm fat and I'm working on it or something like
Yeah.
that. But maybe yeah, I don't know if I'd get your approval on that. But like I just think it's cool. Like
Yeah.
it's reality, you know?
Hmm. Well, and funny enough,
So
people have like, they're like, you should make shirts. Like, I would buy that. And I'm like, you would buy like my weird little saying? Like, all right.
yeah.
Like, so no, like I would totally love to throw that on a shirt. But I mean, like, it's so true though. And like, own it, right? Own the fact that you're in a
Yeah.
bigger body and own the fact that you're on a journey and you're working on it. Like, and I don't know. My husband and his friend are like trying to create a whole merch line for me. And I was like, you guys, that's a lot. That's a lot for me right
That's
now.
so cool. Yeah, you should do it honestly. Like, there's some cool apps out there. I don't know if you've ever heard of like Printify or Printful, but it's
No.
like on-demand printing, so you don't need inventory or anything like that.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so you could just start a Shopify store, and
Yeah.
we can talk more offline about that because I love
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So I'd be happy to help out your husband with getting that launched.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome. Like it is really cool, and what you said kind of reminded me of a principle I try and live my life by that I learned from someone named Jocko Willink. Do you know who he is?
Mm-mm.
So he's this um, ex Navy SEAL commander. I believe he was a commander, but he fought in like Armadi, Iraq, and a lot of those things in like 2008. And he's just this super tough dude. And he has this entire thing that he talks about called extreme ownership. And it's basically like everything that happens in your life is a you problem, and that could be if it's in your relationship, it's if it's in like your habits, if it's in your job, like take ownership of it and find out what you can do to make your situation better. And I mean, I gotta say, you're following Jocko Willink, who's this Navy SEAL guy. You're taking extreme ownership, and I love that.
Yeah.
um and I just think it's really powerful. And um I think it just gives someone like who might be starting their fitness journey like a really relatable person to look to and be like, okay, well, Courtney started and she's way further along than I am right now. But what did she do in the beginning? And
Mhm.
I gotta ask this: do you feel pressure in any way with that kind of like impact that you have?
Yes and no. I think it's more of like an accountability thing for me too now, where it's
Mm.
like, okay, like I have these people who are tuning into my journey and like
Yeah,
I want to be as open and honest as possible. And I think that helps me kind of hold myself accountable then in my fitness journey because like Monday, I was not feeling it, but I forced myself. I wanted to watch Love Island on my couch and I instead got my walking pad out and I walked while I watched an episode of Love Island. And I got those extra steps in, even though I didn't want to, because I was like,
yeah.
oh, like I have people who are going to be like, girl, you didn't hit your steps again this week. Like, what's going on? And I didn't have an excuse that I was sick this time, you know? So,
Yeah,
I think it's more of an accountability thing for me. But realistically, like, I want to have an open and honest and raw journey and just continue that mindset for anyone who wants to follow me.
yeah,
And it's a journey for a reason, right? It's progress over perfection.
yeah,
It's baby steps, it's whatever you want it to be. And I want people to know that like their journey can look like mine, but it can also be so different, and I just want it to be a safe space at the end of the day. That's just what I want
yeah.
my community to be. So,
I think that's awesome.
yeah.
That's so cool, and it really is like, because you think of influencers as people who are unstoppable. At least I do.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, man, I don't know how they do it every single day, but the thing is you're not going to want to feel like it every single day, and you won't feel like it every single
Mhm.
day, because I think I mentioned I've been working out for a few years now, and kind of the same thing. Like Monday rolled around, and I was just beat up, and I was like, I still got to do it. Like we have friends coming over tonight, so I got to wake up and go,
Yeah.
because like I have goals myself. And then yesterday was the same thing. Like our friends were over until like around 10:30 that night, and then which is kind of late for me because I wake up super
Yes,
early.
that's super late. I'm a
Um,
grandma, so I feel that.
yeah, like my wife and I were like we're in bed usually at like 9 o'clock, so it's like whatever.
Mhm.
But and then the same thing happened last night because we had friends over because we went out of town today, and then we jumped on a plane this morning. And right now, like I haven't worked out today, and I definitely don't want to. But
Mhm.
once I'm done with this call, like I'm going to go to the gym because I made that promise to myself, and it's kind of like what you said. Like I don't have that excuse of I'm sick, and I just I want to stay accountable to it.
Right.
Um, so it really is that's a relatable thing that that everyone
Mhm.
runs into. Um, even that Navy SEAL guy Jocko, he talks about it sometimes. He always says if you don't want to go to the gym, he's like just show up and go through the motions because at least you're there.
A
Which I
bad
think is
workout
huge.
is better than not working out.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. There's actually I had a guy come on the podcast yesterday who went to nationals for javelin throwing of all things.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was super interesting hearing because he like had injury after injury, and his journey was pretty tough, but he like still stayed in the fight and ended up going to nationals. But he had this quote that he said that his sports psychologist told him, which was, "You can't lose if you don't stop trying." And I think there's a lot of power in that too.
Mhm.
Like you said, a bad workout's better than none.
Mhm.
So I love that mindset, and it sounds like that's exactly what you're building is a community of where like a place where people can go have a safe space where they can ask questions or get advice and watch you on your own journey. Um,
Mhm.
like that's needed, and so I admire you for doing that. Um, but yeah, I mean, one big thing that I think fitness teaches a lot of people, myself included, is it teaches you about yourself.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious what you've learned about kind of yourself during your own journey.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I've built so many poor habits that I feel like that's why I've always struggled with it up until this point. And now I'm realizing that like I want to be better. I want to be a happier person, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, like all of the above. And realistically speaking, like I need to be more honest with myself. I think I'm really, really good at making up excuses and convincing myself that like, oh, I don't need to do this because of AY or, XYZ things. And
Yeah.
um, I think I finally have learned like I'm a very honest person to my friends and my family. And they don't always love how brutally honest I am, but like I won't be brutally honest with myself. Like, get it together, girl. So I
Yeah.
think this journey has taught me to be brutally honest with myself and have those really hard conversations of, walking that line of being disciplined and giving myself grace. And
Hmm.
I don't want to be 90 and not be able to walk or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be that 90-year-old who's breaking it down on the dance floor at my great granddaughter's wedding. Like,
Yeah.
it's just pushing myself now to have a better future for myself.
Yeah.
So I think, I've just learned to just be brutally honest with myself and tell myself the things I know I don't want to hear and really just focusing on, you know, getting over those poor habits and forcing myself to do things that I don't necessarily want to do, but I know I'm going to thank myself for later.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's uncomfortable. Like, it really is. It's not a comfortable thing to do. Um, but discomfort teaches you a lot, and
Mhm.
it teaches you that you can do hard things. Um, my wife, going back to her for a second, but or every year, her family runs a half marathon for her dad who passed away from cancer. It's called Team Tim. It's a really cool experience. But that was like one of the first times where I saw the fitness community in action, because this is a race where people come from all different places, like within the U.S., I guess, but also different fitness levels.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people. I remember in my first year, there was a guy who ran like 6:49 minute miles, and then there was like someone who pretty much walked the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, but the whole concept of like why we do it is, one, to like show other people who are affected by cancer or other difficult challenges that they might have, that like, hey, we're willing to suffer with you. And I know it's very different. Like, it's a very different type of suffering,
Yeah.
but like, we love you enough to go and do something hard for you. And his name is Tim, obviously Team Tim, but Tim would always say like, confidence comes from doing hard things, and you can do hard things. And
Mhm.
it really is something that's like, kind of just, it's been etched into my heart. Like, you can do hard things, and hard is relative. Like, hard is going to look different for one person than it will for you, and it might look different for you than it is to like Scotty F Fitness. It's
Yeah.
it's different. Like, hard is relative, but you can do hard things, and
Mhm.
confidence comes from putting yourself in those or uncomfortable situations, and learning to say, hey, this sucks, but I'm going to keep going because I know the
Mhm.
result on the end is going to be better. So
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that. That's amazing. Yeah.
it's yeah, I don't know. Like, my mom, she's a great example. I love everything that she's done, but she's like, oh man, she's gonna get mad at me for this, but I think she's like 57, 58. But I'll let you know if I get in trouble after this call.
I say
But
she's young and hip. What are you talking about?
yeah, she's young and hip, but like, speaking of hips, like, she had a bad hip. Like, she ran the Chicago
Mhm.
Marathon and stuff, and I always looked at her as like a hero growing up, because I was like, man, that's crazy. And now she's kind of gotten a little bit older. And she told me she'd never run because like her hip was so bad. And she just decided, like, this year we ran the rock and roll half marathon in Las Vegas, and there was a 10K that there was an option for, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna try this. Like, I think I can do hard things. And I was like, Mom,
Mhm.
that's awesome. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were just like so proud of her. And it's like, why would you not want to see people do something where they can be proud of the effort that they
Yeah.
saw in themselves?
Correct.
Um, and so it's just, I love being a part of that. And it sounds like
Mhm.
you're forming that own community where people are going to start, sending you DMs and be like, hey, I saw your video, and it made me do X, Y, and Z. And
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so what are your future plans for fitness and like your journey? Like, are there any sports that you're interested in, or like what's on the horizon?
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, just continuing to push myself to be like a happier, healthier version of myself is like my number one rule, right? So, just
Yeah.
continuing down that road. But I think, you know, my husband, he played football for basically his entire life, and he still plays football as a 30-year-old. He plays like flag football, and I
Oh,
think
that's
he's
awesome.
finally retiring. But he has been getting into like has gotten into running because that's something he's never been able to really do with playing football because he was an O lineman. He needed to stay bulky and
Yeah.
like had to lift weights, had to kind of go that route versus being a runner and kind of slimming down type thing. So he's been running. So I think it would be really cool to do kind of get into the running scene a little bit more. I've done a 5K in the past. I did that in college, and that was actually really, really fun, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I walked half of it, but I still got to say that I did it.
Yeah.
But I think it would be cool to kind of just continue to like explore that journey, and then to do it with him, who is like my best friend, I think would be even more cool. And just to do something like that together and kind of push each other to like try new things in that
Yeah.
field, which we've never done. So that would be really cool. But I also think it'd be fun to like have the ability just to do like co-ed volleyball or just doing
Yeah.
like fun stuff with our friends. And I've never tried that before because I was always so self-conscious of being in a bigger body and not being able to move as quick as my friends or whatever that would look like. And now it's just like, well, I'm bettering myself. And why not do those things when I am young? And,
Yeah.
like, why not? So realistically, I think just trying new things, putting myself out there. And I used to play basketball, and it's always fun to shoot hoops and seeing if
Oh
there's
yeah.
like maybe, some sort of co ed thing or just even like forcing myself to do a pickup game with friends and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think realistically, it's just being more active and finding different ways to be active versus just going to the gym and lifting weights every day and then going on my little hot girl walks.
Yeah.
It's just doing different things like that and just pushing myself to just be better and try new things. So I think that's really just my goal for fitness anyway. So,
Yeah. I love it. And I mean, a lot of the things that you talked about, it's all about like connection.
mhm.
Um, like playing in co-ed sports, like what you said about running, definitely builds connection. Yeah, randomly, I honestly, I think you should try and get into the running community because that's been probably my favorite thing I've done. And you mentioned volleyball. Like I was part of a team for 8 years in Arizona of all places. But the difference I feel with like the people I run with is it's night and day. It's a weird feeling, but I think it's just because it sucks, and you're doing it with someone who like also feels that it sucks.
Yeah.
Um, but by the end, like you're best friends, and that's why I love that Team Tim race I was telling you about, which I might have to hit you and your husband up about and say, hey,
Please
come on,
do. Yeah.
because I think there's I believe there's a 10K option, but there's the half marathon, which is in February of next year. So,
Okay. Gives me
but that's
time to,
cool.
get myself going.
Yeah, yeah, you got some time. And that's actually one thing I'm working on with getting after it because like I love seeing people run.
Yeah.
My brother, he's the best example to me because he also swore off running. And when I got married, he was around 265 pounds. He won't get mad if I'm telling his weight out there, but and he came to me and he's like, "Hey, I want to run a marathon in a year." Because he's like, I'm done. Like I want to change. And surely enough, like November of the following year, he ran his first marathon.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and like he lost, I think he's down to 203 now.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, and just like seeing the confidence that he built in himself and the fact that he's like, I'm going to commit to a plan, stick to it, and he showed up when he didn't want to.
Mm,
His face when he crossed the finish line was like the most rewarding thing I've ever seen, and
yeah.
he felt that same way about himself. And I think it's a testament to doing those difficult things and bonding with people and sharing your journey with them to help them on their own. And so yeah, I think if you and your husband get into running, hopefully you get the bug. I mean, Wisconsin's a beautiful place to run. So
Yeah, it's been really hot here like the last couple of weeks
yeah,
though. So like maybe I'll start running on the treadmill inside so I'm not like gasping for air, but
yeah, that's fair.
yes.
But that's awesome. I think that's cool. And it really is just like, you have a healthy body, and I'm just going to try and make the most of it. So
Yeah.
really, really awesome stuff that you're doing. But my last question for you is just, if someone was nervous to start their own journey, or they had that gym anxiety, what's some advice that you would tell them?
Baby steps are still steps. I feel like I cannot preach that enough. So even if you go to the gym and you walk on the treadmill and you just look, you take a gander, you see what's going on. You
Yeah.
get familiar where things are. You find out where the locker room is. You find out where the bathrooms are. You find out where, oh, I want to try the Smith machine. Oh, it's right there. Okay. And then you just leave. You were there for 15 minutes. Now do it again. Do it again the next day. And maybe go for a half hour and
Yeah.
maybe try out a machine and just really like work up that courage and that confidence, or maybe download a fitness app or look on YouTube, just educate yourself and just help boost that confidence. And when in doubt, you can reach out to me. Just kidding. But when
No,
in
I'm
doubt,
definitely gonna
like,
I'm gonna put all your information in the show notes. So you might get some people flooding your DMs.
but yeah, it's just, it's do what makes you feel comfortable, but push yourself out of your comfort zone for sure. But I would, like I said, like baby steps are still steps at the end of the day. So even if you're only going to the gym once or twice a week, maybe the next week you can go 3 times and you can do more and more things each time. And you'll start building that confidence and that comfortability, which you can then grow and prosper. And I think that's so important. And I think you should share your journey with your close friends or someone that you can at least talk to about it. I have a girl who DMs me every day what she does. Like she tells me her steps, she
Oh,
tells me
that's
what she
cool.
did at the gym. And I absolutely love it. Like, I'm just like, I'm so proud of you. Like, great
Yeah.
job. And then, or she tells me, like, oh, I didn't make it to the gym today. I'm like, girl, that's okay. Like, like you're going to get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's just finding that person that you can share your journey with and just kind of communicate with, and just having that person. And whether that's your significant other, someone you met at the gym, whether it's an online person, like just sharing your journey and getting excited about it, I think is so, so helpful too. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Get excited about it. I mean,
yeah.
it's gonna be hard, but you know what? It's worth it in the end. And
Hmm.
um, I love the message that you're promoting, because, like I said, it needs to be out there more. Um, everyone's in a different state, everyone's at a different level, and it's important not to compare yourself to other people, like we said, but
Hmm.
instead seek inspiration from them and learn from them.
Yes. Yeah.
So I love it. And um, yeah, so where can people find you?
Yeah, so I post mainly on my TikTok about like my health journey. So my handle is Quartz Corner, and it's QUARTS Corner. Um, yeah, and then if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Courtney Paige with an E, and or with a 3 instead of an E. But those are my main two places that I post about things. I'm debating on making a public Snapchat just to like
Hmm.
post motivational things. I have a private story that I've had people add me on, um, just for like daily motivational things like that, and what I'm doing each day to day. That's a little bit more updated and personal than TikTok. So
Yeah. Well,
debating
I
on
love
putting
it.
that out
I'll
there.
I'll definitely put it in the notes so people can find you. But
Okay.
um, yeah, I would just say keep doing it. Like, keep getting
Thank
after
you.
it, keep showing up, because speaking from my own experience here, like when I do that, like I'm always more proud, and I
Hmm.
always feel better. And it sounds like you've come to the same conclusion, which I think is awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah, it is a journey, but life is life, and we're here for a while, so why not make the most of it, and do something a little challenging, get out of your comfort zone, and
exactly.
you'll learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah, I feel like this has been the craziest part of my life. And like, I think it's nice to know that like I'm capable of doing things I never thought I was capable of doing. And so I'm
Yeah.
just excited to see what more I can do.
All right, on. I love it, and seriously appreciate you coming on today, and
Yeah,
being vulnerable, sharing your story. And um, I think this was just, yeah, it's a great conversation that I think a lot of people can learn from. So keep doing it, because it's needed. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be following you. So maybe I'll send you my steps and be like, Courtney,
Yeah, please
I
do.
only got like 6,000 in today. I was supposed to get 10.
And I'll be
So
like, it's all right. It's all right. Next time we're getting them tomorrow.
yeah, that's what's important is, if you don't
Yes,
get it the first time, you show up the next time. Um,
exactly.
Going back to David Goggins is the last thing I'll say, and then we can wrap up. But um, he's known to be just the crazy man, right? But he does have this quote that I think we can all relate to, which is he doesn't look at failure as failure. He looks at them as attempts.
Hmm.
And that's like, it's a big mindset change, but you're not
Yeah.
failing. If you miss a couple days, just get back on track and
Hmm.
it'll be fine. So,
Yes.
but Courtney, seriously, thank you so much for jumping on. It was great to meet you and great to talk to you.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
So,
I absolutely loved it. This was super great. You're super great. Oh, would
well,
10 out of 10 would do it again.
awesome. Well, yeah, we might have to get an update episode, maybe a little bit later in the year and see how things are going.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, really appreciate your time today, and everyone else, thank you so much for listening. And as always, keep getting after it.